Welcome to Najam Soft Technologies. Today I'll be giving you an introduction to SignalR 2.0 and show you what are the minimal setups or configurations required for a simple SignalR app to run. And then I'll be walking you through a series of small demos and projects towards advanced concepts of SignalR. Let us see how SignalR works. SignalR 2.0 is the most recent version of SignalR, and it is intended by Microsoft for real-time application development. The main features of SignalR include servers can listen to the client broadcasted messages, client can listen to server push messages, and automatic handling of fallbacks for old browsers. For example, web-based ticketing website refresh seat availability immediately to all the connected clients as soon as one reserves a seat, without the need for others to refresh the page for getting the recent updates. Services like this can be addressed with SignalR very easily. Now let us see what are the steps required to use SignalR. For now, note down the steps just as a high-level introduction, and we will shortly be seeing each step in detail. The first step is add NuGet packages for SignalR. The syntax is as mentioned on the screen: install-package space microsoft.aspnet.signalr and say enter. This will install all the necessary scripts for SignalR to work properly. The next thing is we need to add an Ovin class, Ovin startup class. And how we can do that? We have to right click in Visual Studio on the project and select add new item. And then there is a template for Ovin startup. We have to select that and say OK. The purpose of this Ovin startup class is to tell the hosting environment that SignalR will be used on the application pipeline. The next step is we have to add a hub which extends SignalR hub functionality. And how we can do that? We have to right click on the project in Visual Studio, select add new item, and then select SignalR 2.0 hub. We should rename it to any name which we want for that hub. In my case, I have given myhub.cs and I'll say OK. This will add the extended version of hub. The purpose of this action is to allow us to embed our desired functions to the hub server. The next thing is we need to add an HTML page or view to the project which will be acting as SignalR client. And to make it as a SignalR client, we need to reference some necessary scripts to convert the page to SignalR client. And the function of this activity is to allow message sending to the server and receiving from the server. Now, a snapshot we can see for the minimum configuration required to use SignalR is stepwise as mentioned. First we need to add SignalR NuGet package, then we need to add Ovin startup class, then we need to add hub extension, and then we need to add HTML page which will be acting as a SignalR client. Let's create a very basic project. The function of that project will be to transmit server date and time to all connected clients. Our objective from this project is an application with minimal code to allow real-time client and server connectivity. Now let's see. I'll open a Visual Studio 2013 instance, click on File, New, and Project. I'll select ASP.NET Web Application and give any name to this project. In my case, I will say transmit date -001. and say OK. From the templates, I'll select an empty template and simply say OK, but without selecting any checkbox. Now an empty project got created with basic references already added to it. The first thing I need to do for the SignalR to work, I have to go to the package manager console and write install-package space microsoft.aspnet.signalr and say enter. Right after pressing enter, Visual Studio is going to add automatically the necessary references as well as the scripts. Now we can see that in the references we got SignalR references already added, and also in the script folder we got jQuery as well as SignalR. These were the main requirements for SignalR application to run. Now let's create a hub class. We have to select SignalR hub class here, and I'll name any name, but in my case I'm saying myhub.cs. I'll say OK. We can see that myhub is an extension of standard hub class of SignalR, which means that our class will contain all the properties and functions of the standard hub class plus the extended methods and functions which we are going to add to our class. One more thing I will do, I'll go to add and select Oven Startup class. I'll call it startup and say OK. This class I am creating because this is the class which is going to tell the application pipeline that SignalR is used in this application. I'll just add app.mapSignalR to configuration, and that's all. Now I have added the ASP.NET package, and I have added the hub and Oven Startup. Now I'll add an HTML client page which will act as our client. Now to check that till now all the configuration we have done is working properly or no, I'll simply run the project, and once the page is getting loaded, I'll type in the URL. After the slash I'll write signalr/hubs and say enter. If everything is working fine and configuration is okay, I should receive some content of a text file. Yes, which I am getting here. This means that our application is configured properly, and with the standard feature SignalR is already configured. Now we need to add our customized functions. Now to convert this HTML page to a SignalR client, we need to reference the jQuery and SignalR scripts. I'll just add the SignalR script to this client page and the jQuery. Make sure the order is the same which you can see on the screen. The last reference we should add should be to the path or URL where the auto-generated proxy reside, and by default the auto-generated proxy will reside on this URL which you can see on screen. So these three are the mandatory references to the scripts. If we have that, then that page can be acting as a HTML client. Now I will add one more script element in which I'll be doing my coding. So what I'm going to do, with the help of the jQuery, I'll access a connection object which resides in the above referenced scripts, and with the help of that connection I'm going to access the standard hub and then the start function of that, and whenever the start is completed, this function is getting called, which I have passed to the done input parameters. Mean to say, whenever hub starts and the start is getting completed, our this function is going to be called. So I'll just simply write an alert statement here to see that either my hub start is done or no. So I'll just restart the project. Yes, I got the alert, which means that our standard hub started properly. Till now we have just assured that our environment is configured properly. Now let's create some function at the server and the client side so that the communication can happen between our client and our customized server. So I'll go to the hub class and add one function here. Let's call it broadcast server time. Now as this is an extension to the hub, it will contain some additional properties which we will be seeing shortly, but before that I'll add one function at the client side as well. Access the connection object with the help of the jQuery .myhub.client message receiver. I can give any name, but I gave currently message receiver as a name, is equal to function. Now what I am doing here, by utilizing that connection, I am adding one function which I called message receiver, and this will be called from the server side whenever required, and whenever server sends something to the message receiver, it's getting received in this message object which I just created in the function input parameters. Let me add a span element so that I can display the time when I receive it from server on the page. So whenever server sends something, it's getting received in the message variable, and then with the help of jQuery I'm going to retrieve the server time span and assign that message to the text property of that span. Mean to say, whatever I am receiving will be getting shown in the span which I called server time. Now let me add something to the hub also. As the hub extends, my hub extends hub standard class, so as I said, all the properties will be visible here to us. So clients is one property of the hub class which allows us to access all or any specific clients. Here I am going to use all the connected clients, and whichever function I have created at the client side, I'll call the same function from here, and I'll pass datetime.now, which is the current date and time of the server, So now this means that I am broadcasting to all clients the current date and time, and this date and time will be getting received in the message receiver function which we have recently created. As we can see here, now the receipt end is done. But now for the client to communicate with server, we are going to write the connection object dot myhub dot server dot the name of the server side method, broadcast server time. Keep in mind this should be in camel casing regardless of how it is actually defined at the server end, but when we are accessing from the client, so it should be in camel casing. Now as soon as the connection got started, our server side function broadcast server time will be called, and once this is called, this in turn will create a message of current date and time and broadcast it to all the connected clients, which will be received here at the client side and getting displayed at the span element. Now let's see. And we can see the current date and time is appearing. Now if I will duplicate the page, now the recent time is again broadcasted to all the connected clients. Once more I can duplicate it, and again the recent time is getting reflected everywhere. Now as we have seen a practical hands-on walkthrough, I'll give you a quick recap of the steps that we have used and seen. The steps are: the first was we added NuGet package for SignalR. The purpose of that was to install the necessary scripts and libraries which are required for SignalR to work properly, and the syntax you can see on the screen. The next thing was we added Owin startup class. The purpose of that was to tell the hosting environment that SignalR will be used on the application pipeline. Syntax you can see on screen. The next was add extended hub to customize server. The purpose of this was to allow us to append our actions or methods to the server as per our customized needs. You can see the syntax on the screen. And the last point was we added HTML page and referenced SignalR core scripts. The purpose of that was to allow messages sending to the server and receiving from the server. The scripts snapshot you can see on the screen, which are the required scripts reference addition. Thank you everyone. Please subscribe us for further tutorials from najmsoft.com. Bye.